Welcome to this edition of Labor Vision. I'm Bob Delaney, Executive Director of the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. Labor Vision, a production of the Institute, focuses on topics of importance to working Rhode Islanders. We hope you enjoy this edition.
Hello, you're watching Labor Vision, the at-home edition. I'm your new host, Autumn Guillotte, and starting a new series on student loan debt, we have Etie-Lee from the Attorney General's office. So hi, and thank you for coming on to Labor Vision.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So I was really happy to have you on the show today. I saw a presentation that you had done about a new scheme for student loan debt forgiveness for public servants. Just to contextualize, and I'm sure we all know, like, I have student loan debt to pay back. I don't know if you're still in that boat. A lot of millennials are. As of 2019, the average Rhode Island student loan borrower owes more than $33,000 once they leave school. More than 133,000 Rhode Islanders are carrying a combined $4.5 billion in student loans, facing really high monthly loan payments right out of the gate. These borrowers are more likely to put off buying a home or saving for retirement, and they're less likely to do things like starting a new business or taking risks with their careers because they're saddled with this debt. So this is like a multi-layered problem that's not new. But one of the biggest issues is that there are all these schemes for loan forgiveness that are just very difficult sometimes for the average person to navigate. So that's why we have you here today. So I want to know, like, how did so loan forgiveness for public service is not a new concept, right?
That's absolutely right. In 2007, the federal government announced an initiative, basically a promise to individuals who served their community, either by working for the government or working for a qualifying nonprofit entity. The promise is simple. If you worked there for 10 years, the balance of your student loans would be forgiven. Sounds pretty simple, sounds pretty straightforward, but as we all know, that didn't quite work out as people had planned. About 10 years after the initial promise was made, flaws in the system became very apparent. The plan itself required 120 qualifying payments. To have a qualifying payment on any particular month, you needed to be employed by the right employer, you needed to have the right kind of loan, and you needed to make the right type of payment. So first, the right type of employer. That was actually pretty easy to decide. If you were working for a nonprofit, you knew it. So you knew what you were doing, you knew you were in public service. Whether or not you had the right type of loan, that's where things started to go off the rails a little bit. The federal government offers a myriad of different loans and loan programs. Only the direct loan would qualify for forgiveness, but people, of course, had FFEL loans, Perkins loans, family loans, other types of loans. So payments to those loans did not qualify. And third, you had to make the right type of payment. Now, if you were not in an income determinate repayment structure, or if you were off on a payment by a penny because of a rounding error at your bank, or if you, because you weren't in the income determinate repayment structure and you couldn't afford full payment, but you tried and you made as much payment as you could, those wouldn't qualify either. And so after 10 years after the program, when thousands and thousands of people thought that they had made 120 qualifying payments, they soon discovered that they didn't qualify for the program at all. And in fact, about 99% of initial applicants were rejected by the federal government. And this is devastating. These are families, people, like you mentioned earlier, thinking about buying a home, starting a family, changing careers, that couldn't. They're staying stymied because of the burden of this debt.
I mean, it's shocking. I mean, I'm on the younger end of things, but I can't imagine going through the 10 years of paying back your loans and expecting to have that no longer something to worry about, and then to learn that, never mind, you didn't do it exactly the right way. Therefore, all of your hard work is for naught. I just want to throw in a few more figures here just to contextualize why this is also a labor issue. There are over 20,000 state and municipal employees in the state of Rhode Island. And that's just state and municipal, right? We're not even talking about nonprofit workers. 11% of Rhode Island is in the public sector in one way or another. And that's in total. So these are a lot of people who really need this kind of forgiveness. And so I'm wondering now, like, how has this changed? I know that the Biden administration has put out some new changes for loan payment. So what's this new one?
So that's absolutely right. As part of the COVID-19 pandemic, it allowed the federal government to enact new initiatives and changes to different federal programs, including the Public Service Loan Forgiveness. They announced a limited PSLF waiver opportunity. This was announced in October of this year. Basically, what it says is that if you did work for the right employer, but didn't quite have the right loan, or didn't quite make the right payments, those loans and payments could still count as a qualifying payment. So, for example, if I'd worked for a public sector for 10 years, but I made all my payments on time and every single payment was to a federal loan, but I only had Perkins loans. What this limited waiver opportunity gives me the chance to do is to consolidate my loans into a direct loan. And then the federal government will back count all of those old payments as qualifying payments, resulting in all of my forgiveness, which
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's so exciting.
Yeah, and then for the payments as well, because there were so many people who fell through the cracks for being off by a penny or being in the wrong type of payment, those payments would still count. Those payments would now count. The federal government will consider those to be part of the program. It is a little time sensitive though. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
so
want to get into that.
when do we need to figure this out? Like, when do we need to start asking if we're qualified?
Right. So if you have federal loans right now, and if you were in public service, are in public service, or are thinking about public service, you may qualify to benefit from this program. So what you would need to do is to go into the federal government's website, and you can actually evaluate what type of loans you have, and you can consolidate them right now, today, to a direct loan. And this will at least give you the second right of the three rights. You would at least have the correct type of loan. And then they could count and then if you have been certifying your employer to make sure that the federal government knows you're working for the right type of employer, all of those payments would eventually be calculated and count towards forgiveness. The reason why it's called a limited opportunity waiver is that to convert all of your loans to direct loans, you have only until October 31st of 2022. And the student loan moratorium is lifting in January of next year. And so I'd actually encourage everybody to get this done as soon as humanly possible. Get all the benefits out of the way, make sure you're able to do it, and get that all set up, ready to go as soon as the moratorium is lifted, so you can start making qualifying payments if you have any remaining.
Cool. So one of the resources, I go to the federal website. I'm going to put all links in the show notes as well so that people can more easily access them. There's also, I know that when we were speaking before, the Rhode Island Institute for Labor Studies and Research has also offered to help people navigate where to receive student aid or student loan debt aid. So you can give them a call. I'll put their phone number in the show notes. And you had mentioned that the Rhode Island Attorney General and the General Treasurer have a website that explains some of the Rhode Island specific rights people have for student loans. That's studentloanrightsri.com, right? So that will also be in the show notes. I just want to make sure that all the resources are available because, as you said, this is time sensitive. I have that very sad little marker on my January calendar when I gotta start paying my loans again. I was enjoying this COVID break.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is really amazing. I I've also noticed that the Attorney General and the Treasurer have put out a sort of Bill of Rights for borrowers, right?
That's right. There's a legislation actually that passed that codifies any student loan borrower's rights in Rhode Island. And all those rights are all explained on our website, as you shared before. And in fact, if any borrower in Rhode Island reviews those rights and thinks that their servicer has done something to violate their rights, they should file a complaint with their office as soon as possible.
It is a complicated world out there. I mean, not only are we saddled with this debt, but one of the big issues are these deceptive and predatory practices by loan servicing companies that say they're supposed to help you pay off your debts, and then they either deny borrowers access to programs for no real reason or miscalculate things. So it's very hard to navigate on your own. So it's glad that we have these resources available through our government.
Yeah, and what's particularly insidious about some of the ways that these servicers act is that they make it feel like it's your fault.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, how did you not know? How did you not know you're supposed to file a letter in triplicate and send it to this guy and postmark it there? Their websites don't tell you. They don't tell you on the phone, but they expect you to know their rules and regulations so that you can get your best situation, which is why the student loan bill of rights was so great. It actually puts the onus back on them. They owe you something, which is the way customer service is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're supposed to help you.
Yeah, or else why bother?
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and explaining this. I'm very happy to have these resources. They'll be all over the AFL website and the Labor Vision website, as well as in the show notes. Is there anything else you would like to plug or bring people's attention to?
Just two very quick things. I know we mentioned the moratorium. For any student loan borrower, any federal student loan borrower, please go on the website anyway and ensure that all of your contact information is up to date. If you were on an automatic repayment plan, it is possible that that was discontinued, or maybe you changed bank accounts, or any other change could have taken place that would mean that your payments wouldn't become automatic and you could be delinquent, and that can hurt your credit and can be very bad for you.
Yeah.
So please go double check that information. A second thing, this limited waiver opportunity, it does expire next year. This is through the federal government. There are a lot of scams out there. Please be careful. If anybody approaches you, phone call, email, looks legitimate, looks like it's a government agency, looks like they can help you, but first they want more money first, that is a scam. Do not pay anybody for loan forgiveness. The only loan forgiveness that exists is through the federal government. So you shouldn't have to pay to be forgiven. So if somebody asks you for money, that's a red flag. Don't, that's a scam. That's it.
Well, that's good to know. All right. Well, thank you again. And we're happy to have you on. Hopefully we can have you on again.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you. Never miss a segment of Labor Vision. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Labor Vision RI, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Labor Vision TV 1. You can also always find us at our website, laborvisionri.org. Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Labor Vision. We appreciate your input and encourage your comments. Labor Vision can be seen on this channel 3 times each week: Tuesday at 7 p.m., Thursday at 8 p.m., and Saturday at 5 p.m.